Do you think...
I try not to.
Good. Usually good. Do you think Oscar Isaac gets really mad every year about the Academy Awards?
Because he doesn't win?
His name is Oscar. And he has never even been nominated. They're doing so... Every single one of them is wrong. Like,
okay.
Sure, they act fine, but they call it the Oscars. How can they give any of them to anybody other than... I mean, Oscar Isaac... Oscar the Grouch, I'll take that.
Right, okay.
Whenever there's a Sesame Street, is there not Sesame Street?
Oscar
Sesame.
De La Hoya.
Yeah, sure.
He's a boxer.
He acts sometimes, I'm sure.
I
I'm
have
sure
no
he's had
idea.
cameos in
I don't
Adam
know,
Sandler
yeah.
movies. I looked it up
Okay.
to show just how
Has an
wrong
Oscar never won an
a
Oscar?
singular Oscar. Okay, wait, hold on. A little quick game. Can you guess who it is?
Only one?
Only one Oscar in history.
Do I know this? Like, will I know this name
It is
at
in
all?
the realm of something you are interested in. I don't think you'll know it.
No, okay. Oscar Pennyworth.
Is that?
I made him up.
Oh,
He's,
okay.
he's
It's
Alfred's
like a weird uncle of...
uncle. Yeah, exactly.
No, Rodgers and Hammerstein, the composer duo.
Yeah.
Hammerstein, his first name is Oscar. He won 2 Oscars, I think, in 42 and 46. How do they get it so wrong every year?
Okay, stop.
I
want to be very clear here.
They call it the Oscars.
I had 2 really good ideas for intros.
Every single Tony Award goes to somebody named
2
Tony.
really good ideas
Very
for
few people know
intros.
this, but every single Tony Award is given to a person named
And then
Tony.
you're like,
every
you
year.
walked in and you're like, no, I have the intro.
I needed a call.
And we're like, okay.
His name is Michael.
And this
Michael
is,
B. Jordan.
this
They're
is
not
what you
called the
bring-
Michaels or the Jordans.
This is what you've brought.
His name is not Oscar, and it's a travesty.
This-
He should change his name now.
This is the conversation
he needs
we're
to
having.
change his name.
We
Oscar
could
B.
be
Jordan.
We could be laughing about TV shows that if they were rebooted today would be totally weird and wild to
Yeah.
see.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that sounds fun. You're closing your eyes to the injustice in the world. And I won't stand for it.
Let's do a podcast.
Hashtag justice for Oscars.
Let's do a podcast. Everybody, welcome to Save and Continue, where theology and fandom meets. I am Steve, and with me as always,
I'm Kyle,
and
before haven't won any Oscars.
He still's not. Well, no, but have you won any?
We'll
Kyles?
get there. Once I win, once I change my name, I'll be much more likely to win.
Have you won any Kyles?
Several. Yeah.
Okay, wait. Okay, now we're moving on to a different topic, a different intro topic.
Oh, okay.
What
we're
would
back
the
to
Kyles
intro.
be?
I mean, the obvious, like, meme, the Kyle meme is, like, motocross, drinking Monster Energy drink,
Oh yeah,
punching holes in walls. So, yeah, that's all tracks. That's what I did this morning
If
before
we're
I got
going
here.
meme, then the Steves would be like the nice guy. You know, like this is just because like Steve Carell, Steve Rogers.
Is Steve a good guy meme?
Yeah, Steve, because it's Steve.
You're
Carell,
saying there's lots of good guys
Steve Rogers.
Steves. Sure, I
but
get that.
There's memes about this.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
That like Steve is clearly
Steve
the nice guy
Irwin.
name. Yeah, Steve Irwin. Yeah, that's another one
Yeah,
as well. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I'll give you that one.
Yep. So
Stephen Miller. Let's move on.
yeah, it got real quiet there for a second.
Because of the irony.
Yes. So I am pulling up the outline which I made here. Hey, Fox, I have what I consider
you
to
have?
be outstanding news.
Okay. What are we doing right now?
It's the intro.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought the intro was the thing we did already.
And, well, yes. No, I'm saying like
breaking
we're
format.
transitioning to our topic,
Yes.
Kyle. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
My fantastic news is that
Here, let me hear you.
Firefly is coming back.
Yes.
Firefly is making a return.
Yes.
And what I think is the best possible way it could return if we want more stories from the original cast.
Okay, let's get it out there. Firefly never really went away because there's been, for a good chunk of the time since the show went off the air, there's been comics.
Yes.
There's been other stuff. So I'm not going to say, but yes, the television show is returning in a new form.
There was a Firefly animated series returning
yes.
with all available cast returning.
All available cast.
Yes. Unfortunately, Ron Glass.
The only person who is not available
who passed
is
in 2016,
Ron
I think.
Glass.
Yeah.
Yes. R.I.P.
Yes.
And, not unfortunately, we're going to talk about him. We're going to talk about Book.
Yes.
The character he played.
So today, in honor of Firefly getting an animated... probably not a reboot. Probably a continuation would be my guess.
Yeah, I'm going to guess a continuation. I'm going to guess that, what's his name, Alan Tudyk?
Yeah.
He's going to be flashbacks.
Okay.
He's going to be in flashbacks.
Spoilers,
or it could be a continuation of the show, the time in between the show and the movie, I guess.
With it, because I saw,
that was only
a cast projection. So. It was just a picture of a cast projection of it, and there was... one black guy I did not recognize in the picture of the animated cast. And so I'm assuming that he's going to voice Shepherd Book.
You're thinking Alan Tudyk is going to voice
Shepherd?
No, what?
I just said I saw a picture
new voice
of the
for
cast
Shepherd
for
Book.
so the new voice.
Shepherd
Book
see
is
what you
also
mean.
dead as of the movie. Spoiler for a decade-old movie or whatever.
Yeah,
15-year-old movie.
It's like 20 years now.
But
because you're a skeleton.
I think. It seems to be there's a voice for Book.
So yeah,
and Alan Tudyk is coming back. So I'm wondering if
could
this
be
is
in between.
I'm guessing this
is a new thing. Don't worry about it.
I'm guessing it's going to be from the end of the actual series up to the film. All that stuff in the middle is my guess.
I remember reading. So brief history. I watched Firefly for the first time at your house in high school. After you moved up here, myself and a friend of ours came out to visit, and in a space of 5 days, we watched the whole show.
Yeah.
Then I had to go home and watch the movie because we ran out of time. And I was just like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
It's
and
so
I
good.
consumed, pretty sure I watched it again pretty quickly, but I read everything I could about it. And I remember reading that the plot of the movie would have been at the end of like season 3 of the show, in theory. And there was about, I think, 6 months in between those, the show and the movie.
Oh,
maybe
really?
a little more, maybe a year. Not too long, not a whole lot of time.
The fan theory I have heard and I kind of land with is that they find a town that really needs help, and that's why Book stays there, and that's like an end of season 1 thing.
Yeah.
But then something happens, and it's Mel's fault that River almost gets caught again, and that's why Inara leaves, and that's the end of season 2. And that's why all of season 3, there's tension between Mel and Simon again.
Sure.
And that's why when we get to the movie, they just dislike each other. Like Mel does not consider him part of the crew anymore.
Well, Inara had intended to leave at the end of season 1. Like, she had mentioned that, remember?
Oh, so yeah, maybe it was the other way around then.
She had mentioned she was going to leave, and then she does.
Right.
And then in the movie, she comes back, and at the end, she says, I'm going to stay. And he's like, good answer.
Yeah,
and it's like a great moment. Let's just get this out of the way right now. Great show, excellent movie. The movie is very well crafted.
My wife and I were talking. We're talking too much about this, but my wife and I were talking because we've been binging it for this podcast.
Yeah.
It's incredibly well written.
Yeah.
Incredibly well made. Unique. Nothing like it beforehand. And for whatever reason, nothing like it since. Nobody ever tried to fill that gap. Nobody ever tried to come back. There were no movies, no other TV shows. Sure, there were the Firefly comics, but nobody even tried to ape it, like a Battlestar Galactica to Star Trek or whatever else.
Sure, the space western, the literal space western. Right. The only thing I can think of, and I'm sure you have sci-fi western. You have
Westworld.
Westworld, yes. But the only thing I can think of is Mandalorian. Mandalorian did some space westerns.
But it's Star Wars. It's explicitly Star Wars.
It is explicitly Star Wars, and I understand. And it also, feels different. Has a different feel to it.
But it's the closest thing we've gotten to it.
I would say Mandalorian feels like what if Star Wars was a space western.
Right.
They kind of put western plots in the Star Wars framework.
Yeah.
Firefly has a pretty unique deal.
Because I would call it a Star Wars western.
Sure.
I think Star Wars is its own space genre. I mean,
we're splitting hairs here.
It
is a space western. They're in space. There's literal
that's fair.
guys wearing cowboy hats and stuff and riding horses that are not they're just space horses, The other elephant in the room that we should talk about before we get into our actual topic
is our guest for today, this elephant. Sorry.
I thought you were going to say, as our guest for today, Joss Whedon, everybody.
Oh, wow.
I'd rather have an elephant in this room. Joss Whedon is not involved with this new animated reboot. It's not surprising at all.
Right.
He is persona non grata at this point.
Correct.
I think the last thing he really was involved with would have been Justice League.
Yeah.
Would have been Justice League.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a bad movie. Who cares about that? I don't care about the quality of the movie.
If he had, I genuinely think that if that had gone well, things might be different for him now. But
Maybe.
There was such negative opinion about him already, and then that did not go well either, and so that negativity just festered. You know what I mean?
Well, sure. And his apparent actions on set and stuff were not great. His personal, it came out as his kind of personal life did not meld well with his stated views in life.
Yeah.
All these things. So that was a huge question I saw on Reddit when I was looking into this. So many people, there would be headline and link to article, and then the first comment would have a quote from the article where it says, Joss Whedon is not involved in the project.
Right.
And then the person commenting would say, okay, I might give it a chance now. That was the bare minimum for a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah. Other than Nathan Fillion said that Joss Whedon gave his blessing. He did the go ahead. That's the most he's been mentioned in
I don't think Joss Whedon has any rights to it or anything. It's owned by 20th Century Fox.
I would guess that it's his IP, though.
I'm not sure if he actually... Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure if he actually owns any of it.
Yeah,
I have no idea. Anyway,
yeah.
What we want to talk about today...
Yeah, we're going too
I think there's
about
some
this.
baseline stuff you want to talk about that you get there. But what we want to talk about today is Shepherd Book.
Yes.
One of the main ensemble cast of Firefly.
In fact, we want to talk about Shepherd Book because, again, this is theology and fandom.
Yes.
We kind of want to ask the question, is he a good shepherd? What's he like on the ship? How does he portray Christianity? How does he portray leadership as some sort of a pastor or a preacher? Or they treat him much more like a priest in this.
He's to me, I always think of him as a hospital
chaplain,
a chaplain, because they're fighting and there's violence and stuff, and he's kind of there to very professional.
Wow.
Hey, hello. Good. How are you? Okay. I would not be. You might want to text. I will be. I have a thing. I'll be leaving at 5:04 already. But Faith might be able to if you give her a text. Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay. Yep. Bye. I literally thought it was you because I hear my ringtone so little because I always have it on silent. So anyway, well. That we'll just leave all that in.
Yeah, that'll be great. It's definitely
cool.
part of the podcast now. Okay.
I've always thought of Shepherd Book. Shepherd is the title he has. That's kind of taking the role of pastor. I've always thought of him as kind of like a chaplain.
Yeah.
In a military setting.
But I had the thought of how do we measure a chaplain or a pastor or anything like that?
Yeah, if our goal is to say, is he a good shepherd, a good pastor, a good chaplain, whatever, how do we measure that?
I have listed the qualifications in 1 Timothy 3.
Excellent.
And Titus 1.
Okay.
The qualifications of an overseer.
Hold on. Let's clarify, though, real quick. he is explicitly a Christian pastor.
Yes.
He has the Bible.
Yeah.
He talks about bringing the good news to people, thems that need it.
Yeah.
Like
he is explicitly Christian, and
I believe he mentioned Jesus at one point. How much of the show have you binged? How much have you gotten through?
We're about halfway through.
Okay. I think later I think he talks about like scriptures never talk, or Jesus never talking about kneecaps or something. When
but I don't know if he ever says. He says they say the Lord, and things like that.
It never gets too explicitly like quote unquote Christian, but it is clearly a Christian pastor.
Right.
Yeah.
So I've listed the qualifications for an overseer here,
good.
And I'll say right off the bat, I've left out some out entirely, ones that just don't apply to him, like husband to one wife or whatever.
There's a whole backstory comic about him. I can't remember. I should have reread it.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
I didn't read. So I'll say that I am only aware.
I don't think he was ever married.
The film and television book.
I think that's fair to stick to.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will also say, this is just a side thing here, that whether you are egalitarian or complementarian, however you feel about women in leadership, please, I'm begging you, do not use this text. Because pronouns is not doctrine. So many people come here and point to this and say, it says he, it says husband to one wife, and father, and he, and him, and this. And if we're going to take that stance that because male pronouns and male like status, husband and father words are used here,
gender,
we have to be
that
consistent.
would then apply to all
we have to be consistent with Scripture.
Yeah,
and there would be sin that is okay for
only
women to
applies to men.
Yeah, sin that only applies to men.
It's a bad route to go down if you're trying to say men are significant,
like requirements of Christians that only apply to men and things like that.
Yeah.
And so it's terrible theology.
Yes.
So please don't.
Right.
Please don't. Just
hey, go for it, but stick to your conviction.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Go for it and stick to your conviction.
And stick to your conviction, and women get a free pass on some really weird sins. Yeah. So with that being said, though, there are qualifications here. And so let's take over these. So first of all, right off the bat here in 1 Timothy 3, above reproach.
Okay.
Above reproach just meaning if somebody were to try to accuse them of something, if somebody were to try to say that they're doing this, most other people would be like, I don't believe that.
Yeah.
Because I know this person so well. They are above any sort of accusation.
That does not sound like him.
Yeah.
In general.
Right.
Now, this doesn't mean that they can't have sinned.
No, of course not.
Right. Above reproach is a general feeling or status of known as a person who should be, I don't know about given the benefit of the doubt. Do you think that's the right terminology?
That's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
And of course, we want to be very clear here in that there's been, especially these modern times, a lot of accusations against pastors and things like that. We are absolutely believe the victim, type thing, 100%.
It is not contradictory to say that somebody can be above reproach and also be an abuser.
Yes.
And also be sinful. I mean, it is a basic definition of humanity that we are sinful.
Right.
And so nobody is technically above reproach.
Right.
It is about who we know somebody to be.
Yeah.
We don't know everybody's secrets.
Yeah. So, but above reproach is simply just meaning that it would be very difficult to believe accusations because they have a character and a lifestyle
you would
that has shown otherwise.
You would ask for evidence. You would ask for...
And I would actually say that for Book, if you were to ask those who know him as Shepherd Book...
In this story that we see...
Right. That he would qualify into this.
I think most...
Absolutely.
Yeah. They generally... I mean, the only one that I think would be skeptical would be Mao. Would be the captain.
Yes.
Who has a fairly cynical view of religion.
And I think that's why. I don't think that he would think that Book is a bad person or that he's done bad things.
But he's not,
I think that he would doubt God.
He's not willing to say, well, because you're a pastor and because you've been nice. All of us have been nice except for Jane. Like, Jane's the only one. Like, the rest of us have been nice, in this entire show. Should I say that they are all above reproach? No, I know the things they've done, whatever.
And... So, but even then, I think that Mel would still say he is a good person.
Yes.
I mean, Mel was like, hey, like when they were going to, not Mel. Yeah, Mel afterward. No, who was it? Anyway, when they were assaulting Niska's compound,
yes,
somebody asked, doesn't the Bible have something to say about killing
before.
people?
Yeah.
And Book says, yes,
does.
It's a lot fuzzier about kneecaps.
Not kneecaps. And then he demonstrates some pretty good accuracy.
But they wanted to say, hey, we're fine doing this,
yeah,
but we know you.
Yeah.
We know who you are. We know what you believe. You sure you're okay with this? Mm-hmm. And so I think that's a good example of above reproach right there, where this is, something sinful that they would consider possibly sinful or whatever else, depending on your opinion on violence and everything like that. This is something that they wanted to check. Are you okay with this? Because we consider you above this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
I would say check mark one,
check.
First one on the list. Yes.
So Shepherd Book number 1, check. Good job. All right, number 2. That's the poop number.
It means poop.
Sober-minded and self-controlled.
Sober-minded and self-controlled. Off the bat, yeah.
Yes. I would say absolutely yes.
He represents this maybe the most amongst the crew of Serenity.
There's a big conversation about lust between him and Jane. That's really funny.
Yeah.
So it cuts in media res, and Jane's like, so never? Not once, ever?
Yeah.
And they're talking about sex, and Book's like, no, never have. And he's like, I put that energy into other things. And Jane's like, you mean like masturbating? And he's like, no, but his whole point being that he's got enough self-control.
This is while they're working out, right?
Yeah, they're working out.
Yeah. Which is a great,
it's
probably
very
a very
guy
good
talk. You know what I mean?
Good example.
It's a great example of locker room talk that doesn't have to be what we consider locker room talk.
Well, what term has become.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly. And so this is absolutely guy talk. This is guy talk, talking about guy stuff, whatever. These two guys working out testosterone, talking about this guy stuff. But he's still there talking about his self-control and his how important it is for him to remain pure and whatnot. And his whole point is, I take that energy and I put it elsewhere.
That's the only moment I can think of where he kind of has an ounce of lost control is when he discovers River just straight up tearing apart his Bible.
Right.
Basically, her mind is saying, this is all illogical. I have to rearrange this. I have to fix this. And he doesn't really lose control, but he does stop her, and that's the closest I can think of.
Right.
But that's kind of his whole deal, is that he's pretty
even
keeled.
And self-controlled.
Reliably even keeled.
Well, and even then, I would say the closest we ever see him to gut reactions would be episode 1, when Mel tells him, just the kind of springs on Book, that Inara is a prostitute, that she's a companion.
Yeah.
And he gets kind of this, and you can see that
he's processing.
Ron Glass does a good job with it. He processes it, but part of that processing is there's a moment of judgment and whatever else. And Inara finally says, next time, why don't you make sure you introduce me to people that want to meet me?
Yeah.
And then she leaves.
Right.
But then later he comes back and he apologizes. Something I'm going to talk about later is he comes back and he is repentant of it.
Yeah.
And so, I think
there's a hard, you got to really find those nuances of performance to find the lost control.
So I check. Number
done.
2, absolutely.
Sober-minded.
Respectable and hospitable.
Respectable and hospitable. Obviously, these are pretty subjective terms.
Right. And
what are we taking in to mean respectable, hospitable, especially in the context of living on Serenity, out in the the black of space, in a hostile world? Again, gut reaction. Yeah.
The respectable part is where I begin to wonder.
Interesting.
He is objectively a member of an illegal operating ship.
Okay.
Now,
he has knowledge of illegal activity,
right,
including violence.
Correct.
That he is choosing not to technically follow the law about.
Or rebuke them, or say like, hey guys, we don't have to do this. He's never sat down and been like, hey, why don't you just get a job? Why don't we let's be a transport ship. Let's be a shipping container. Let's do something legal. Guys, sit down. Let's all have a conversation.
He will rebuke morally.
Yes.
He rebukes Mal about multiple named character that I can't. Yosaf Bridge.
Oh yeah, we don't know her name.
Well, sure.
Yeah, Yolanda,
Saffron, and Bridget. Yeah. He rebukes her, and those like he is not. What I guess the point I'm trying to make is that he's not like averse to calling somebody out.
Yes.
But which actually demonstrates why isn't he doing that about other certain activities?
Right.
So I can understand.
But at the same time, I debate myself here. This is a culture that is completely and utterly different than what we have here. We live in a peaceful culture here, especially in America, where for the most part people can get what they need. Things like hunger are almost disappeared in America. Absolutely, yes.
Yes. I understand what you mean. Relatively speaking,
yes,
food is much more accessible than it has been in other times and is in other places.
But when you talk about like the outer planets, places that are scraping by just to survive, there's
1800s frontier land.
Yes, like there are diseases that are going. Like there's the whole episode of Bowden's Malady where there's just one planet where the terraforming also produced a contagious disease that everybody just gets on the planet.
Yeah.
And so these are situations that you can't just say, hey, I'm going to go to my local urgent care or whatever else. Like
yes. When the crew robs the train and then it turns out it's medicine.
Right.
Well, then everybody's screwed over, right? Like that's not just a shipment.
But at the same time, the alliance in that, the governments in that, when they were told, oh, this medicine got stolen from them, their response was, market is received. Let's move on.
Yeah.
And so when you're in that sort of situation, what is right? I mean, right would be for Mel to return it, and he does do that. But if the people of the city decided to take up arms and kill everybody on the Serenity to get their medicine back, is that wrong?
The show operates really well in the gray.
Yes.
That is its core, like one of its core defining features is competing ideas of ethics and morality amongst, really, most importantly, its main characters.
Yeah.
Who is correct, who is doing the right thing. Mal himself competes with his own mind over what the right thing to do. There's in that episode, he returns the medicine. The local leader says, you had a choice to make. And he said, I don't believe I did.
Yeah.
And it's like a core defining moment of Mal. It's that's the second episode, I think, where like you're learning.
Third, technically.
Second, third. Oh, yeah, because they did
the first one's a double episode,
Yeah, you're right. But because it's revealing Mal does not consider himself to have a choice when it comes to the lives of people who are not doing evil.
Yeah.
If they are innocents, he has a response or has something to do. So I think that is where we actually find why we can quote unquote justify why Book doesn't come out and say that action was illegal. I'm calling the cops on you guys.
Right.
Because he also understands the injustice that is happening. They are living in empire. They are living under the rule of an empire.
That's actually a really good point, because in the Old Testament, sorry if I interrupted you.
No, it's good. Keep going.
Cool. In the Old Testament, when we see God talk about justice, it is nearly always paired with mercy.
Yes.
The way that we serve or whatever, uphold, that's a good word. Okay. Uphold justice is by the way that we treat the oppressed and the underprivileged. That is justice. Justice is uplifting those who can't, uplift themselves, those who are being oppressed, those who are being hurt. Mercy is how we treat the oppressors. Mercy is looking at the oppressors and saying, I also want to restore you.
Yes.
I want to make things better for you. And so we're in a situation here where justice is making sure that people can eat and sometimes that means that you have to do an illegal salvage
Right.
on a ship that has been like a ghost ship floating through space. That's illegal salvage, but also that's food that could serve.
Right, it's food. It's going to waste. It's doing yes.
Yeah,
and
that's justice.
Yes, I would say, now I'm thinking about it, a core element of Firefly amongst the the Serenity crew is an escape from oppression.
Yeah,
I would say most of them, if not all of them, have some element in their stories about escaping from the oppression of somebody else. Whether that's Mal and Zoe escaping out from the no longer they're still browncoats. They're no longer escaping war, escaping the oppression of the Empire. You have Jane just trying to survive and wanting to just live free, essentially. Right. I think is how more hedonistically I'd say. But you have like Kaylee literally just wanting to get off a boring planet and escape from like a bumpkin farm life thing. You have
Simon
and River escaping the Empire, also the Alliance. You have like all of them, and I would say that is why. I would say that's a good. I think you can make a good interpretation of why Book fits in well.
Yeah,
because I think he understands that part of the message of Christ, a core message, part of the message of Christ is an escape from oppression. Both biblically would be the oppression of sin and death, as well as justice from oppressors.
Yes.
It happens throughout Scripture. Of course, Jesus talks about rendering unto Caesar what is Caesar's, following the law, but at no point would I say that overcomes the need for basic justice and mercy that is from God's perspective rather than our own.
Well, and we talk about render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and Romans 13 is often brought up in this point.
That is the big one.
And contextually in these things, what we see is both Paul and Jesus, well, other way around, respectively, Jesus and Paul, respectively, saying, hey, do what you need to do to live within your country without the law chasing you down or without that being an issue. That way you can successfully live as Christ would and share the gospel in that way. If we look before and after Romans 13, there's so much talk about how to treat your neighbor. Just after Romans 13:10, I think, is love does no harm to a neighbor. And so we have to make sure that, yes, Romans 13 says to follow the law of the land, but the purpose of that, Paul writes that, so like his point being, do what you need to do so that running from the law isn't your chief concern.
Your foundational motivation as a Christian is to demonstrate and proclaim the love of Christ.
Right.
Do what you need to do to be able to do that. Right. And being a constant at risk of the law does not generally help that happen.
It does not. He does not mean submit to oppressive and sinful authority.
If Paul were to say, you should never do anything that gets you on the wrong side of the law, he would not have gone to jail.
Yeah,
he does things that get him thrown in. Well, whether or not it's legal, it still happens. He is oppressed by the government, and he uses those situations to the advantage of the gospel, of course.
So to come all the way back then,
right? Yes,
I would say that Book is respectable within his culture.
Yes,
absolutely respectable in this culture.
Yes,
if he were to do the exact same things today, that would be different. But I think within the culture of Firefly,
I think there are plenty of contexts within the culture of today where he would also be in that exact situation.
Yeah,
I think of I don't know, people smuggling Bibles into like China or something, where you are doing something illegal, but it is to the value to the.
I'm thinking very American
purpose of the of Christ's gospel.
Yes,
like, there are lots of things that we can do that are explicitly against script or against the law.
So yeah, respectable, yes, hospitable. He cooks
100%.
He
cooks,
cleans.
He takes on those roles on the ship.
Okay, here's one that I really, really was curious about. What were thoughts about?
Okay.
Able to teach.
Able to teach. I mean, he has the capacity to teach Scripture.
He can.
Like, if that's where we're going.
I mean,
you're talking about.
Is this something he does well? Is this something that he is, like, suited for? How many people...
Okay, go ahead.
In all of the episodes and film does he ever make them go, actually, that's a really good point, man. Or I haven't thought about that. Or maybe I need to think about that more, you know?
Here's where we run into the hard part about this is that the show was obviously famously cut off very prematurely. Right. Was canceled even before every episode had aired. And so it feels like even the season that we have is still establishing the show. And
absolutely.
Like, I
yes,
mean, I'm very excited for more of it to a certain extent, but yes, so this is the hard part. I would say, yeah, this might be has the capacity to teach.
Yes,
for sure. Can teach, able to do that. He teaches through, I would say, example very well. He takes, it feels, I don't know, maybe we're trying to interpret things that we're kind of putting in there in our own mind, but with that scene with River and the Bible, I'm wondering if there was some opportunity there to like teach about the nature of it. He has a line. I can't remember specifically what it was, but he has a line about how it's sometimes more about the idea than the literal concept of what's going on.
He says, faith. Oh man, I can't remember.
She talks about like she has a problem with like Noah's Ark being able to fit all the animals on the earth and stuff like that. And she's like, it must be this kind of physics or whatever.
But I think that's one that I feel like he essentially says, faith just makes me believe it because I believe. And it's the cyclical argument. And I don't expect everybody to have a good apologetic for this type of stuff. But here's my thought on this though. Like, and this is why this is the one that I'm like, because your average Christian doesn't need to know this stuff. If you are a believer and you're living your life, your goal, be like Jesus. Check. Sure. There you go. Sure. Be a little more like Jesus every single day. And that's about it. But James specifically says not many of you should be teachers because you'll be judged more severely. And this is exactly where that judge more severely comes in. He is a shepherd. He is not your regular Christian. He is somebody who is meant to be able to go out into the world. And when somebody says, Noah's Ark, blah, 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 this is not, to have some sort of explanation for it, to be able to say, well, some people consider the first few chapters of Genesis to be poetic in nature and not literal. Or to say, some people consider the world at the time, they're just that area of Jerusalem because that's all the world that they knew. And therefore all the animals from that area, a localized flood. Or to say that, maybe God made a supernaturally large ark. Whatever your explanation may be, more than you just got to have faith.
Yes. Here's the problem with this when we're getting into this like literal theological teaching aspect is that's not what the show is about.
Right.
The show would have come to a screeching halt if he like sat down and there was a 5-minute scene about him like saying, well, here's the apologetical nature of Noah's Ark and and this scholar from 300 years ago said this and this guy, like that's not what the show is about. It wouldn't make sense to have a scene like that. It would be nice if going forward I would love for a character to actually start to listen and actually be interested in. Who I'd love it to be Mal. I think that'd be really interesting to have that kind of character shift. I'd love it to be Jane. I think that'd be very funny.
I love it to be Jane.
And I think that would actually maybe make sense in a lot of ways. Considering he feels so much guilt about things he's done, even including in the course of the show. Yeah. But that's not really what the show is about. So we have to take these little like glimpses. And here's where I'm agreeing with you. Like what causes me to agree with you where this might not be the best. One of my least favorite moments in the movie, in Serenity, is his death scene.
Yep.
So they show up at where he has been, and the Alliance had been there, slaughters everybody in the town because they're trying to draw out the Serenity.
Right.
The operative.
It's just Serenity. Not
sure. Draw out the crew of Serenity. Whatever, man. And he's conveniently still alive, but for like 12 more seconds once Mal gets there, so they can have a death scene.
Gotta have the death scene.
So that he can have a scene in this movie.
A second one.
Oh, is there a second one?
He and Mel talk at they go and visit the town earlier.
Oh,
He and Mel talk, and Mel's,
and then this happens while they're.
This is when Book says, wasn't always a shepherd, Mel, and Mel's like, you have to tell me about that someday. You have to tell me about that someday. No, I won't.
No, I won't. Yeah, you have to read my comic backstory. It's by Dark Horse. No, what he says is, I don't care what you believe, just believe it.
Yep.
And I get, I get what it's trying to do. I get the idea. It makes sense in the like tone of this show.
Yes.
And it makes sense for him to say that to Mal.
Yeah.
But it's also just like, I hope you do care what he believes. Like, if you don't care what he believes, you're not a good shepherd.
Right.
Like, if I were to say to somebody I don't know if I would give myself the term pastor at this point in my life. But as a preacher, as somebody who has seen, like if I were to say in a sermon, I don't really care what you believe, but you should have good convictions.
But as long as you believe something,
passionate about it, then I would not be preaching very well. I would not be a very good Christian pastor. I would be maybe a motivational speaker, maybe a general like therapeutic deism. What is it?
That's what Sky Jitani calls it. Moral therapeutic.
That's not just Sky. That's a pretty. It's been termed for a while, but just the general idea that God exists and He's for you and it's good, and or even just some kind of spiritual nature.
Right.
He doesn't come off as a good shepherd in that moment, but also he's gonna die in 8 seconds. So it's like, is he gonna give a sermon right now? What's gonna happen? Like,
and to those of you saying like how it's just the writing, like it's a TV show, they can't have him actually go deep into Christianity.
They
whatever.
Could.
Like, well, even
Why not?
Whether could they're not, we're not judging the writers of this show.
Yeah.
We're judging Shepherd Book. And
let me be clear. I think the writing is great.
Yes.
I think the writing of Serenity is very good. I think there's like zero negatives to that movie. I'm saying I don't like that scene from a theological standpoint.
Agreed.
Agreed. In this discussion, I don't like that scene, but I think it works for the movie. It gives motivation to Mal to say, we are not messing around anymore. Tie these bodies to our ship. We got things to do now. We're figuring this out now.
Okay.
So, there's the first. I don't know, man.
Not a check mark.
Not a check mark. The Family Feud style.
Okay. Here's a pretty easy one.
Okay.
Not a drunkard.
Seems that way. Yeah, we don't see him drink. I don't think.
So, ding.
I think maybe in his backstory, he's got a kind of hedonistic lifestyle for a while.
But I mean, we can't judge him on his backstory.
I understand.
Although, if that Paul would
regardless,
be an absolute
also
failure.
He's not a drunkard, even if like.
Okay, so here's one that we can have a conversation on, but I think also is going to be easier.
Sure.
Not violent, but gentle. Not quarrelsome. I would give him the green check on this.
I'd give him the green check. He does violence sometimes.
Yes. He does violence. He is not violent.
Yes. If we're talking about, it's like the above reproach. If generally people would not say he is a violent person, that he is not quarrelsome.
He is able to defend himself.
And
able to defend people. And sometimes, within the culture he lives in,
kneecaps.
He needs to
punches
defend
a guy
him
at one point, I think,
and defend people he loves.
Yes.
But overall,
his first instinct is not violence.
Yes. I mean, in the first couple of episodes, the first long episode, there's this huge issue that he has with the violence on the ship.
Yes.
And
he breaks down in tears.
Yeah.
And it's a great contrast moment where he's like talking with Inara.
Yeah.
Who previously is, she's the immoral one or whatever.
Well, and he seems to his head bowed. They have that scene where
that's a very clearly poignant shot that they do on purpose.
So I think he gets the green check on this one. He is not a violent person. He is not
of the crew. Jane is violent.
Yes.
Mal is violent.
Yes, absolutely.
Maybe Zoe.
I just saw the episode with Uday when they're in the bar and
they're just there to start a fight. Yeah.
Mel says, "Say that to my face," and the guy turns around and says, so he's like, "No, what are you gonna do?" But I was like, "Nothing. I just wanted you to look at me so she could get behind you." And she hits him in the face with the butt of her gun.
Yeah, like in reality, his jaw is broken. He's down.
Yes.
But in funny bar fight reality, it's funny.
All right, another easy one. Not a lover of money.
Yeah, never really any evidence. Nope. The valuable thing it's shown that he has is some strawberries at the beginning of the show.
Right, and I don't think anybody there
Grandpa
is a lover of money. Anybody on the ship, I think
Jane.
Yes, but
Jane pursues it more than anybody else,
yeah.
but he also does send it to his mom.
Right.
Like, he has a more motivation for it.
And nobody there, like, Jane's a lover of money in as much as he wants more of it. He is not a billionaire who is,
well,
you know,
sure, none of
things
them
like
are.
that. You know, like, when they go with Yosef Bridge to
steal the
gun,
the original laser gun.
That's lovers of money. You know
Yeah,
what
that's
I mean?
true. They
like,
demonstrate some wealthy jerks.
Okay, here's another one that I'm like,
Okay.
manages his household well. So the question is this: when it's talked about in Timothy, it's in the context of is a good husband, is a good father, manages his household well.
It's a good thing in real life we never have to have any hard discussions about this.
No, not at all.
But in the show, it's hard. It's difficult.
So in this, obviously, he's not a father. He's not a husband. But would we consider Serenity his household? And does he manage that well?
He is not the captain. He is not in charge of this place.
But he
takes on a role.
Yes.
Not, I would say, more than spiritual. Like, he, on a regular basis, watches River. Like, or is, like, involved in making sure she's just doing okay. At one point, I remember that something goes wrong. She knocks him out or whatever. I forget exactly what the instance was. But, yeah, like, he is clearly in charge of making sure she's doing okay. She's not having an episode or whatever you want to call it. So he does take on the role of caregiver, of household leadership. That's when I think of household, maybe it's because I'm a stay-at-home dad. That's what I think of. It's like caregiver. Right. But also that involves... There's to a certain aspect, I would say some of the things that we contribute to the idea of household that don't actually apply in this situation. Usually, like, managing finances is a thing in, like, household leadership. It's not really a thing in this, in that they are all, like, individuals who do their own, like, finances to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But I would say you can only be... actually, let's talk about how we apply this modern day. I would say the hardest if my child does not want to be led by me, if I have done, quote unquote, everything correct, everything by the book, to be a good household leader to my children, to whoever, and somebody is not willing to submit to my leadership to whatever extent I have it, to what extent can I be held responsible for that?
Yeah.
And nobody on Serenity, nobody on the crew, I would say explicitly says, I am submitting to your leadership. There are instances where he gives them advice.
That's true.
There are instances where he is clearly being a shepherd, whether or not they, like, recognize it. Sometimes it's just guy talk, locker room talk, or, just, like, talking about philosophy or something. But I don't know if any of them would actually say, like, it's just, like, a weird, like, gray area of, I don't even know if he could be considered a household leader, because they're all adults,
That's fair.
They're all separate people who, definitely
So
at the beginning, are just like passengers on this ship.
You're saying that we should not expect him to be responsible for their faith and actions and whatnot. That
yes,
he is their equal on that ship, and therefore his opinions on what should and should not be done, he can voice them. But if they flat out don't obey them, that's not going to reflect on him.
Yes, you've had roommates.
Yeah.
Would you say you were? Would you be the household leader, or would everybody equally be the household leader? I would say they're all roommates of his, essentially.
Yeah.
Some with actual authority over him because they own his, they're his landlord. Basically, Mal is his landlord. Basically,
I will say, that's a tough comparison that you're making there, for me at least, because I went to a Christian college, and therefore all of my roommates were Christians.
Exactly.
And so we all did want to keep each other accountable.
To a certain extent. That was yes, we were hoping to. We would, yes, that is a thing.
At the same time, I was the only ministry major. And so when it came to theological or whatever, deep matters, I was deferred to a lot. They would just ask me hey, what do you think about this? Or, hey, what are your opinions on that or whatnot? Because, one was a music major, the other was a business major, the other one, I think there were two business. I had a few roommates throughout the years.
Okay.
But nobody else was a ministry major.
Let's insert one of those roommates saying, hey, I don't know what to do about this situation. and you come to them and say, I think this is what I would recommend. This is my advice to you because of my faith. You were explicit about it. This is what I think is important.
Because of our faith, yeah.
Because of our faith. Sure.
Yeah.
Here's scripture. Here's all this. I if you need help, you are gentle, you are guiding, and they say, thank you. And then do not do anything.
Does that reflect on me?
Does that reflect on you?
No. That's a very good point. That's a great way to put that. No, it does not.
Which I do think that does apply in households.
I agree.
To my 4-year-old son, I think it should reflect on me a little bit. But
I agree. Okay, sure. Okay, you sold me. I agree.
So I don't know if this is it's not a check or an
he
X,
doesn't have he doesn't have a household to manage.
He is a spiritual. Yeah, I'd say that. Yes.
Okay, so
I don't know if that applies.
No check or X. Not applies. Another one I think is easy. Not puffed up. He's not arrogant.
True.
Yeah.
True.
No, not arrogant. Ding. Check mark.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. All right, so we got out of Timothy.
Okay.
Overall, passes the Timothy
Doing
test.
pretty good.
Well done.
The quote-unquote the Timothy test TM.
This is another one that maybe doesn't
we're heading
apply.
to Titus now, right?
But we're into Titus.
Okay.
Children not open to the charge of debauchery. So here's really the question. Could you accuse members of Serenity, I made the mistake
You did it.
Members of Serenity of debauchery? Yes.
Oh,
Definitely.
occasionally, sure.
Could that reflect on Shepherd Book?
Who are we asking if it reflects on him? Some rando?
Sure, yeah. Or another believer, another Christian.
Yeah, well, the members of his abbey that he talks about being from.
I would say yes. If my roommates were constantly drunk and constantly, getting debauchery, not saying that the members of Serenity are that and constantly, but
not constantly.
One was, and I said I was a ministry major, I think people would ask, has Steve not talked to him about this? Has Steve said something?
Right.
Like, okay, that guy's making bad choices, sure, but I know Steve.
I mean, this falls pretty well in line
something?
with the household thing, but it is a little separate that it. I think it's fair. Like I don't even know if I completely agree with what I said before about the household thing, because I do think we should be our brother's keeper.
Right.
Not that we're trying to control, but that we should find it important to recognize the lives of our brothers and sisters and
I think I've
give
actually
advice and guidance.
So kind of go back there as well to now I'm redebating. take back what I said before.
Okay, that's fine.
I think on a one-time basis that would not reflect on me. But if every time I gave my roommate advice, they actively did not listen to me, I think that would reflect on me.
Is some bad advice or
does that mean I'm bad at giving advice? Does that mean I have no impact? They don't respect me enough to listen to me when I say things? Like what does that say about me that every time I have spoken up and said something, they have not followed that?
Yeah.
So I guess overall for both of these, this is what we have to ask. And actually I do think I have an answer to this.
Okay.
Are the passengers or the crew of Serenity better? More like Jesus because Book is on that ship?
I think that's hard to say no to.
I agree.
I think yes.
Yes.
I think he gives them guidance. He gives them advice. He is there for them when he needs it. He is a representative of a good spiritual guide.
Yes. I think without him, they would be less like Jesus. Maybe they don't believe. Maybe they don't follow. But I think they are more like Christ because Book is on that ship.
I think you could interpret Mal's actions to be influenced by him as well.
Absolutely,
at various points.
Yeah.
And it's, again, I can say this 1,000 times, but it's sad I'm hoping we get to see more of that. I'm hoping we get to see a continued arc. Not that I expect them all to just be going to church every Sunday, but to see more of that influence happening. If not, it would be frustrating.
Yeah.
Why is he there?
So yeah. No, so I think overall household and his children could be open to the charge of debauchery, but I think overall less so. I think that his impact on that crew is one that makes them more like Jesus, and that gives them the green check mark.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's fair.
Yeah, I do too. Okay, one and a half more.
One and a half. All right, cool.
Holds trustworthy to the word. Does he trust the word and live it out? I'd say yes.
Yes.
I think so. I think that's been kind of the debate we've been making this whole time.
I think in general, yes.
Yeah.
And then once we get to a finer point, it gets harder to say.
Right.
He says, just believe whatever you want, just believe it.
That's on his deathbed. Maybe he's hallucinating. He doesn't. You don't know.
Sure, okay. I don't know, man. That's what I'm saying, though, is that when we get to the finer point, is what we see is he doesn't say, repent and be baptized,
Right.
Which... he's about to die. What's he got to lose? Like he should be giving him the best advice he possibly can, and I think that's one of the best pieces of advice that he could get. I'm being partially facetious,
of course,
but in general, yes.
Yes, I would think in general, yes. He believes and lives out what he believes.
Right.
Yeah, and do I think his actions are the ones that American pastors should be taking today? No. Do I think they're the ones that a chaplain
I shot some people in the kneecaps yesterday. Is that a problem?
Do I think they are ones that the chaplain of Serenity probably need to make from time to time? Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the half of his, what about rebuking those who contradict it? Does he rebuke? Yeah, I think
at
that
times
conversation,
rebukes people.
And I think that conversation with River is a great example of it, where he doesn't rebuke her per se, but he does make sure that she understands you're misunderstanding.
Yeah,
this.
you have a skewed view of what is important.
Right,
faith.
right. Do I think he does a good job explaining it? No, but
sure. But I mean, again, he rebukes Mal with Yolanda. One of my favorite things about him is that he's also willing to be funny and make jokes. It's like, I've got a sermon with hellfire and brimstone and, things like that. And then, like, what does he say? If you violate or...
No, if you take sexual advantage
yes.
of her, you will go to the special hell reserved for child molesters and those who talk in movie theaters.
Yeah, it's a very Joss Whedon line.
Yes.
But, yeah, he's willing to be funny about it and make jokes. Like, he is not stiff, nothing, like, religion man. So, like, yeah, I think he's willing to rebuke people. He is making his point there and also, like, recognizing that he knows who Mal is. Mal has standards. Mal has a moral compass, but he also does seek to remind him, hey, it's important that you don't do this thing.
Yeah. So I think green check mark here.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so overall, I think he only has one red X.
Yes.
And that's the able to teach. Overall, he does not do a great job being a teacher of the word.
Yeah, we don't see a lot of specific, clear teaching.
And he has plenty of opportunity.
Most
he
of it,
really
yes,
does.
100%. Most of his teaching, I would say, is by example.
But and so
and
my
in good
point
responses to questions that he's asked, but are tangential.
Yeah. And my response to that is every Christian should be that.
Yeah.
The fact that he is a shepherd means he
it holds him above.
More should be expected of him.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping for an episode where it's just a 45-minute sermon he gives.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll write that. I can write that right
Yeah, that'd
now.
be great.
Okay, so overall, Shepherd Book, is Shepherd Book a good not the good shepherd, obviously.
There's one of those. It's a church down the road.
Is he a good shepherd? Yes.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's a good pastor.
I think he does a good job.
Yes.
Especially within the context of his world, and especially, obviously, within the writing that was provided.
Yes, yeah. The show has a purpose behind it. Joss Whedon is not a fan of religion.
Yeah.
And so I think that's going to color all of it. So we have to take with what we can from the writing.
Right.
I know we probably don't have a lot of time here, but what are you hoping from new stuff regarding Shepherd Book specific? We could talk forever about what we want to see.
Yeah,
but
obviously his background. That's something that has not been explored on TV or...
I'm curious about how they'll handle the stuff that's been written already, if they're just going to ignore the comics, which I think they should.
Would be fine.
I think that'd be fine.
Yeah.
I think animation's the right way to go.
I agree.
Like, it feels like a good in-between. You don't have to worry about the age of the actors.
Yeah. If it was going to be a spin-off, then I'd say live action. I'd prefer that, where the actors are there for the first 3 episodes, then it spins off to something entirely new or whatever else.
I would hate that.
That's what I thought was going to happen. That's what I expected. But
sure.
I think animated is the best. If we're expecting the original actors to be the whole time, I think this is the best.
Yeah. I'm hoping we get to see some impact that he has on people.
Yes.
Some actual, like, the obvious thing to do is to have him become darker and darker and be whatever, just like, but that would feel like, what's the point of having this moral character here? Like,
right.
He is a person and a character and also a pretty strong symbol a representative of a moral direction in this show.
Right.
And I'm hoping that he is able to, that they show him having a good impact on some of the other characters, being able to have good conversations like that. And it'd be really fun to see that happen.
I want to see his conversion. I want to see
what
happens.
That shows up in...
And why specifically Christianity and Christ is what hits him as how he needs to repent and change. Like, I want to see that specifically.
That's why I do love that Christianity has continued. Not that I think it's shocking, but I think that's it. There's no reason not to believe that.
Right.
Christianity's been around for thousands of years already.
Right.
There's a certain element of a certain belief out there that it just requires more and more science, or whatever the term you want to use, philosophy or thought or whatever, rational thinking, that it will then eventually just go away.
That's
hasn't
Nietzsche.
Been the case so far.
No.
And also, like, religion, including Christianity, serves more of a purpose than just rational thought.
Absolutely.
And so I like that it's specifically Christianity.
Overall, I mean, from my viewpoint, obviously, it's also the real one. It's
sure. I mean, we're dancing around that. Obviously, I believe that
it's the one that's true.
It is truth, and therefore literally can't go away, cannot be destroyed.
Exactly.
Even the rocks will cry out.
Correct.
But I like that it's not just like Joss Whedon's willing to say this is a Christian pastor.
Yeah.
And not kind of jumble religion all into, because there are other religious aspects in Ara, I believe, like Buddhist things in there too. So I'm looking forward to the show. I'm curious.
Me too. I think it's
how it's going to go.
I'm optimistic. I think it can and will go well. The showrunners are people who worked on the original Firefly, who met and fell in love on the original Firefly.
Oh, interesting.
And whatnot. Yeah. So they just need a home right now. Who's gonna stream them? Who's gonna help produce it? So
I'll do it.
Done. Come on into my house.
It in my house.
There you go. Yeah. All right. That's it. Hey, let us know what you think about the new animated Firefly series coming out. Let us know what you think about the original content, the comics, if you got into that at all. What you think about Shepherd Book and his faith and how he portrayed that, and our thoughts on that as well. We're going to talk about what we do in here a second. But first, I want to tell you a story about work yesterday.
Oh.
Yesterday at work, I started back at my local game store again for the first time in a year.
Like a dog returning to its vomit.
Like to its delicious, delicious vomit. And a couple of folks came in. Young lady, I'm going to guess she was probably 16, 17-ish years old. And her mom, who was probably in her 40s, would be my guess. They come in, and they go to look at the dice. And I, of course, like, hey,
wait, you have dice there?
What, at Discs and Dice? Yeah, what? So I, of course, go like, hey, how can I help you? What's going on? And they're like, well, she has a friend who's very into Dungeons and Dragons, but we don't know what to get him. And I'm like, so my first question is always, okay, what's your budget? And they're like, I don't know, $40, $60 in that range. And I was like, this must be a good friend.
All right,
Dang, this is a good friend, right? And so I start explaining, dice is always a good option. Here are some accessories. And as I'm talking, the mom is becoming more and more like, well, that's cool. We got dice that are like are blank until you shine them under black light. And she's like, that's so cool. And the more that I'm talking, the more that she's becoming like fascinated with this and like just wants to know more about what's going on. And this poor little girl's clearly very shy. She's not saying much, but her mom is all of a sudden just so fascinated with this entire culture and this entire world. And it was this really cool reminder about how games are inherently communal. Gaming is something that brings people together in real time, in the real world. I was communicating with this woman, and her and I was beginning to share a culture with her that she was fascinated with, and her and I were beginning a rapport and drawing close to one another just because she had no idea. And when she thought this was fascinating, was learning more and more and more about it. We at SafePoint believe that gaming is inherently communal. It is something that brings people together in a way that can help them see more of each other and know more about each other and learn more about each other. We also believe that a beautiful and wonderful place to experience this community is in your local church. A place where you can have a great conversation with somebody like this, like I had with this woman yesterday, but also afterward, know that this person's going to pray for you, serve you if you need to be served, rejoice with you, worship with you, whatever a companion of yours would be. this person would be there for you for that. We want that type of community for you. So if you're somebody out there today who is maybe feeling a little lonely, maybe want some people to talk about with your hobbies and whatnot, head over to SavePointMinistries.com, and we would love to plug you into what we call a local nerd-friendly church, a place that you can be out about your hobbies, chat about all your nerd loves and whatnot, but also the people there will love you as Jesus would. SavePointMinistries.com. Head on over there. All right, Fox, what have you been up to, my friend?
I finished Resident Evil 9 3.5 times.
Nice.
To get the platinum.
What was the thing that happened?
What?
The secret thing where you had to like beat it and then go wait 15 minutes in that one spot and
yeah, I mean, it was a weird puzzle for Resident Evil. I don't feel like I've seen that they do something like this in the games that I've played. But basically, like
spoiler, by the way, if you care about
spoilers,
this, I am not going to do this.
I will say nothing really.
Oh,
like
really?
It's like a minor lore thing, kind of. Like it's nothing like huge. Nothing gameplay changes or anything. It was really good. I enjoyed it. It has some flaws, I think, but it was really good. But what I will actually talk about is what's the movie I watched? Predator, Badlands.
Oh yeah.
He went from the good lands to the Badlands.
Yeah.
This was the newest Predator movie. Came out like last year sometime, and now it's on Hulu. So I watched it, and underwhelming. I like the concept is that it follows like an actual like Yautja or whatever the species that the Predator is. He's like the main character, and he's like
called a Yamcha.
Yeah, Yamcha. That's what he is. He dies a lot.
Dies a lot.
No, he. So he. I don't need to recount the plot, but it's him, and then he finds half a robot.
Elle Fanning.
Yeah, Elle Fanning, who is the upper half of a robot.
Right.
They're like not. They haven't been trying for a while, but she's like a synth from the Yutani Wayland Corporation. Like
which is the
Alien
first like
and Predator.
Direct Alien and Predator mix.
No, not direct. Do you remember the movie Alien versus Predator?
No, I mean...
And do you remember the sequel, Alien versus Predator Requiem? They're both bad.
Yes.
I understand. I think there's been little references, but this was... Yes, they are now the same thing. Yes. I guess is what we're saying. They are not, like, referencing each other, or this is a creature that they are just the same thing. The corporation shows up, whatever. It was fine. The concept of Predator... I feel like petered out after the second one. The first one is a very, 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 very good movie in that what it's trying to do, it does perfectly.
Yeah.
And then the second one takes basically the same idea and transplants it to Earth in a city.
And it's not great.
It's
also Danny
I will
Glover,
say it's still interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not as good. I would say it's not as good as Predator. It's more interesting. It's an interesting thing to do. It has some ideas to it that are more interesting.
I honestly thought
and
Prey,
after that, it's just like spinning its wheels for 20 years now.
I thought Prey was the best. Like,
Predator, yeah, you're right.
The original.
Prey was the. You're right. Prey was also very good.
Yeah.
But I would say it's still kind of spinning its wheels.
Oh yeah.
In that it's the same thing.
Yes.
Like it's the same movie with some of the nouns changed.
Yeah.
And so this was it was a different plot. It wasn't the same thing as person has to survive against a predator. It's just that the predator has to survive against other predators now. And it's doing the whole found family thing that happens. It had a few things that are just like, okay, like at the end, spoilers, I guess, but it doesn't really matter. He's in the big final battle against another thing and a person, and they get in one of those big loading robots from, remember at the end of Aliens?
Yeah.
When she gets in it and fights the alien queen, you're like, whoa, this is awesome, this is cool. That contextually made sense. Mm-hmm. That was what she had to fight against this giant creature that otherwise she had no chance.
Right.
This acted as armor, kind of size-wise. This is just a person getting into a piece of equipment because, hey, remember Alien?
This was just...
And it was like,
giant robot fight.
Yeah, well, I mean, it didn't make any sense for her to do that. Like, anyway, things like that. I was disappointed by it. I'm glad I didn't go and spend money on a theater ticket. And I think they should not make Predator movies until they have another good... Prey, I think, was a good enough idea to, like...
Yeah.
It took the idea and transformed it a little bit, even if it was a similar plot. I think they should wait until they have another good one like that.
Yeah. I watched Frankenstein. You talked about this a little bit.
Yeah.
You talked about this a little bit already. It was very good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I would say solid 8 out of 10 for me. Not glowing, not spectacular. It was beautiful. But that's Guillermo del Toro, right?
He's good
beautiful.
At crafting a movie, yeah.
But what made it fall short for me was that I wanted more. And that's weird because it was a 2.5 hour movie.
Yeah, I think I understand, yeah.
But there was so much more that would have made this film better, like more talking about Elizabeth, the woman, why she suddenly falls for the creature like immediately, and like finding out more about her life, her background, things like that would help flesh a lot of this out. Finding out more about his brother, there's so many more interactions and relationships that would have helped establish the entirety of the story being told, and it just brought this thought to me. Do we just need to begin accepting that some things need to be a miniseries? Like I know that film is the thing, and when you go to TV, a lot of filmmakers and a lot of film actors will look down on you for going to television, but we're in an entirely new age now.
Sure.
It's completely different than it was in the 90s or even the early aughts.
Yeah.
Where miniseries and TV shows can be incredible, can be spectacular.
Right.
The Last of Us is mind-blowing, you know what I mean? Like, this incredible content. Do we just need, do some directors, some writers just need to be able to stop and say, you know what, man? I need this to be 4 hours. I need this to be 4 1-hour episodes in a miniseries.
I could understand that. I would say that Guillermo del Toro, in a good way, works in a lot of bombast and grandiose moments and imagery. And I feel like more kind of lessens that if he tried to drag out 4 hours worth of that kind of thing. He also works in the intimate and the character. I'm not saying I think he's a very good director. I think this was I remember feeling this is too long, and I would say in retrospect I agree with you that it felt like maybe some things were focused on that shouldn't have been, less focus should have been pulled to something else. He also never fought the Predator, so that's a bad.
Yeah, what the heck, man?
What are we doing?
An
What
alien?
are we doing here? That's probably in a comic book somewhere, actually. But yeah, I understand what you mean though. Some things feel like you could have made this a movie. Some things feel like, wait, I wanted to know more. Please, make this, draw it out. Yeah, so that makes sense to me.
Yeah. So I think that more movies could benefit from that these days.
There's the second reason why Oscar Isaac didn't win an award.
How
because
could they?
The Oscars are wrong always, because they never give anything to Oscar.
All right, what brought you to worship this week?
There's a podcast to listen to called Post Games. It's Chris Plant is it's a very good pod. I love this podcast. It is how, as he describes it, it's about how and why we love games. Largely about video games, but sometimes a little more general. In fact, in last week's episode, he spoke with somebody like a researcher, a scholar. I don't know what the term you want to give him, a scientist, who has written a book about games, about metrics versus point systems and things like that, and how we play games, and how the scoring system is actually something that separates it from a lot of other art, that it has metrics that we work by, and how those can be detrimental or positive for the actual experience. And what I really loved about the conversation they had, I like the whole thing, but there was a part where he talks about 2 different kinds of art, and he terms object art, which is, look at this painting. You might have an experience with it, you might interpret it, but the thing that motivates the experience is an object that already exists, that somebody else has made usually. A movie that you watch is an object, it's art that you watch, it's a text or whatever. And then there's process art. It's art that is created as you interact with something else. So he talks about this in terms of D&D. Sure, you might have an objective that you're going for. You might, you have a thing a quest you want to complete. It'll be completed when you defeat this bad guy, when you get this piece of treasure, when you whatever. But the actual act of the art of D&D is process. It's going through, it's being a character, it's discovering things, it's figuring out how to do the right thing, how to use your tools, and a lot of that. And he talks about that in the term, in terms of gaming in general. A lot of video games are like that also, especially something like Minecraft can be considered process art, where sure, there are objectives in the game that you could just follow and just do exactly what it tells you to do, or you could have an idea I want to create this building or whatever. But sometimes the process of just like going into this world and discovering and creating and searching and finding, and it really demonstrated to me it made me think about God he had an objective in mind when he was creating the world. I think I can't decide where his mind was, but he did have a part when he stopped, created man and then rested. And he said man was very good. It's demonstrating that this was more important to him, I would say, more beautiful to him than the other things he had created. But I also wonder, like, the process of creating the universe was artistic. Like, it was process art. Did he have, from the very beginning, an idea of, I'm going to make the Horsehead Nebula, and I'm going to make this, and once those are done, I'm done. They're going to be this color, and this color, and this color, and this color. Did he say, I'm going to make 4,000 different types of beetle, and each beetle is going to have this specific function, and they're going to have these specific colors, and they're going to have this size and this shape and live in this habitat? Or did he say, hey, you know what other cool beetle there would be? And he's like, that one right there. Look at that Hercules beetle. It's so giant. How cool is that? And of course, because he is perfect, it has a function and does the thing that it's supposed to do. It just made me think about like the process of art, that God experienced while creating the universe. It was not at all what the conversation was about, but I would highly recommend listening to Post Games, but specifically that episode. It's from last Monday. I forget who the guest was, but it's about metrics. If you Google like Post Games video game metrics, that'll bring it up.
Man, I don't remember who I was talking to. It may have even been on this podcast, maybe not, but I was talking to somebody recently about the size of the universe, and it was kind of an aliens conversation of why would God make the universe so big? And I'm like, whether are or not aliens, God makes beautiful things. And I know that we print miniatures with our 3D printers and we paint miniatures, but we have what's called our gray pile of shame, which is just more miniatures that we have that we want to print because we just love creating that much. It's just this love of creation makes us want to keep creating. And if at the end of it all, the universe is infinite or however big it is because God just loved creating, and so he just kept doing it. And we're the only living things. It's just Earth, that's it. But everything else, it was so much fun, and it was so cool, and he was having so much fun doing it that he just kept going and going and going. That would also be a perfectly fine explanation to me.
Well in line with something we talk about at Save Point is fun is an okay purpose in and of itself.
Yeah.
That you don't have to go to a game day at a church thinking, I have to convert 3 people, You can sit down and have fun and have that conversation. Have somebody that is important, 100%. But does on the opposite side of our galaxy, if there is a tri-solar system and it's just so like complex in its function and the orbits and all these things, like it serves, as far as I know, no function in the universe, but it exists, and watching it, the complexity of it can still be beautiful. Like, cool. That's cool. Yeah. That's okay.
The beauty of creation.
Right. The beauty of creation is in of itself an argument for the existence of God.
Yeah.
Because we find beauty in things and it serves no purpose to us.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Mine was Firefly. Specifically, the first episode, again, second episode, the pilot of when Book goes to apologize to Inara.
Yeah.
He brings food. He walks in. He's got a smile on his face. And at the end of it all, his whole thing was, yeah, man, no, I don't agree with what you do.
Sure.
Absolutely not. That's clear between us. We know that, but that's not why I'm here.
Yeah.
Do you want me to do that? I have a sermon prepared. I can do that.
Sermon, that's what it was.
It's got hellfire and brimstone.
Yeah.
And she's like, no. And he's like, oh, well, I've got food then. They sit and they eat. And it was such a good moment, like such an incredible and beautiful example of how Jesus shared the gospel, for one, was just going to people's houses and sharing meals with them, and how we should share the gospel too, just by being with people. Again, this autotelic is the word that I learned from Jacqueline Parrish, which just means something that exists for its own sake and nothing else. You know, that tri-soul universe you're talking about, you know, it's autotelic in that it doesn't serve a purpose, it doesn't do anything, but it's awesome. It's cool. And so sitting and eating a meal with somebody doesn't have to be your attempt to convert them. You don't have to, you know, prepare. Oh, when we do this, I'm going to pray this prayer and it's going to make sure to say it this way.
If you don't pray with me.
Right. Or whatever else. You can just sit and eat with somebody and that is good.
Right.
And Jesus did the same thing and it was good and it was beautiful. And that to me was just such a beautiful moment of how God made companionship and how God made us to connect with people and whatnot. Too often, I think that we expect ourselves to change the world. I ranted about this a while back, that we think we're the main characters. We have to be the ones to go and change the world. We have to be the ones to protect God and make sure that, you know, Christianity survives or whatever, when in reality, we just need to be like Jesus.
Yeah.
And Jesus sat and ate food with people, and that was good enough. So it was beautiful, and it was awesome, and I love that moment.
And played Catan with people.
Thank you for listening, everybody. We appreciate that you were here. Let us know what has brought you to worship. I want to know that. Put that, if you're listening on YouTube, or if you're watching on YouTube, put that in the comments. If you're anywhere else, you can also go to YouTube. You can head over to our Discord. There's a lot of places with that link on it. We would love for you to come and talk to us about what has been bringing you to worship lately. We want to say a really big thank you to The Music Mechanic for our creation of our theme song. Thanks, Tim, over at The Music Mechanic.
Great job. Also want to just throw another reminder, Save Point Ministries is what motivates us to do this podcast. It's why we're doing this. We want to be in community with you. We want you to be a part of the community of God, of the church, and play games with people and have fun and also understand what it means to live as we were intended to live. So please, like I said, join the Discord, head to the website, comment on YouTube, whatever. Yeah, we want to connect with you.
And if you want more podcasts like this, you can head over to Love Thy Nerd Podcast Network. If you love nerdy podcasts that are also faith-based and family-friendly, the Love Thy Nerd Podcast Network is the place to go.
And I believe that's all we've got.
That's all we got?
Yep. No more things to pitch.
That's right.
Well, anyway, I guess what we'll say now is thanks for listening to Jesus' favorite podcast.
See you later, guys. Saving Continue is made by Save Point Ministries and is a part of the Love Thy Nerd Podcast Network. It is produced and edited by Steve Valdez and Radio Matt Coker. Intro and outro music are done by The Music Mechanic. A special thank you to the Glue Network for their support. For more faith-based and nerd-friendly podcasts, go to lovethynerd.com/listen.